Point Pleasant, West Virginia. Just an average everyday small town, right? Wrong. Point Pleasant has a compelling history rich with mysterious happenings, tragic events, and was the location of the infamous Mothman sightings, which inspired the Hollywood movie The Mothman Prophecies. Many of the mysterious events that transpired at Point Pleasant are still unsolved to this day.
Point Pleasant is pretty much a bedroom community. It's a small town, less than 6,000 people. We're located in a downtown area. It's a long town because all towns on the Ohio River were pretty long towns. The lower end of town where we're at is it's the old town. It's probably almost the second oldest town in West Virginia, probably. Wheeling probably being the first oldest town.
The TNT area was at one time one of the 10 most polluted areas in the United States of America. The government, the EPA come in and cleaned it up, set up treatment centers up there to clean the water. And it was originally built for World War II, the North and South power plants. And the North Power Plant is where the Mothman was originally sighted November the 15th, 1966. And the North Power Plant itself, years ago, produced bombs and for the war efforts and TNT. And a lot of the residue during that time soaked down into the ground. And a lot of the stuff was buried up there during war times, and it seeped out of the cans, out of the canisters, out of the drums, into the ground. It was very, very polluted. And but they've cleaned the area up, a whole lot since then. It's under control now.
My brother and sister-in-law had decided one night to take a ride to the TNT, which is above town here, to my sister's house. And when we got there, we had decided that we'd frighten the children because the parents weren't home and peck on the glass of the windows. So when we did, they weren't that frightened. They did come out, and then we visited for approximately maybe an hour and a half, and we decided that we was to journey back home. So we went, my brother and Raymond Walmsley, and myself and his wife, Catherine Walmsley, went out. And my brother Raymond kept saying to me, "Marcella, look to your right at this light in the sky." And I said, "Oh, no, hogwash, And I kept walking, and he said, "No, you've got to see this. It's not a plane." And I just more or less was drawn to keep walking ahead towards my automobile that I had parked. And I was the driver that night, and he kept trying to get my attention to come back, and I kept walking. And when I got to the car, I had my daughter, Tina, which was about 3 years old at that time, and I was carrying her, and instead of going to the passenger side of the car, I went to the driver's side, I went to the passenger side, and I was driving that night. So I thought, well, it's strange I'm here, but it was like I wasn't being led by my own brain. I was kind of being pulled along, going in the direction someone else wanted me to go in, maybe we'd say. And I reached for the door handle on the car. And when I reached for the door handle on the car with my Tina, which was 3, in my left arm, I saw this figure. And from somehow I was looking, holding on to the door handle, and I started at the feet. And I came up with my eyes looking up. And I saw no feet, but I saw a grayish cast. And I kept going up, looking up at this creature, and it had wings like a bird with its neck stuck down and stood in a position about like this. And I thought, I never did see a red eye. I never saw the red eye. I don't know whether I was so frightened, but I did see a head like a bird go down into the shoulder part. And I just freaked out. I couldn't imagine what it was, and I knew it wasn't a human being because it was gray in color, and the grayness was not clothing or skin, it was feathers. It was all gray feathers. And at that point, I turned and tried to run back towards the house. And when I did, I couldn't walk. I got within maybe a foot from the creature, and I fell face down. Had a cigarette in my hand at that time, burnt my fingers, scratched at both knees, and I laid there on top of my daughter, which I could hear her crying. And I thought, well, my Lord, you know, I'm going to suffocate her, but I can't get up. I'm helpless. So by that time, I could hear my brother in the background hollering, "Come on, Marcella, get up, come on, hurry." And I kept trying by listening to his voice, telling me to get up. And excuse me. And finally, when I did get to my feet, I got her by the hand and tried to run, and I still couldn't run. But I walked fast enough that I could get where he was. He wasn't about to come where I was. He would not come and get to where I was because he could see the outline of the creature, you know. So I went back with him, and then we went in the house. And after we got in the house, it hit the door. It came to the door and tried to get in the door, which they had locked. And I was just in and out. They took me to a sofa and laid me down on the sofa, and everything was kind of scratchy from there on out. I knew the Oliver law officer in Mason County was there, and lights, red lights going, and you know, sirens and all. But I just couldn't. I couldn't grasp what I saw. I knew it was nothing from this earth. I knew that the creature, whatever it was, didn't live here, you know. And I just thought when I fell, I left that part out, I believe. Any moment, if you can try to imagine seeing something like that and then falling flat on your face and being paralyzed and not being able to move, I just was expecting any moment for him to reach down with the claws or whatever wing, whatever he had, and pick me up by the back and just fly away. I thought that was what was going through my mind, you know, well, this is it, you know. He's got me now, you know, he'll just pick me up and fly away. And as we did go in the house, I heard the flopping of wings. I recall hearing the flopping of huge wings, I mean, beyond your imagination, like a plane. And my brother heard that too. And it came and peeped in the windows. It looked in the windows, and my brother had dialed 911, you know, and told him we needed help. You know, it was beyond our imagination what was around the house and what we saw at that point. But it was the most frightening experience I ever had in my life. I've never in my wildest dream ever thought that I would ever run into something like that and not be able to describe what I seen, you know. And it was just unbelievable what I saw.